My 33 male, wife 32 female, said her ex's name while we were having. For the last 4 years, my wife and I have been married, and we have a 2-year-old kid. We had been dating for 3 years when we decided to tie the knot in May of this year. While we were having last night, she brought up the subject of her ex-boyfriend. She came up with a bizarre rationale for why this was happening. She said that it is a common name, in fact, it is a rather popular name, and that she had just heard it. At that time, I had no intention of getting into a serious argument with her. Because of this, I'm worried about why she did it in the first place. In order to provide some perspective, this was a guy she had been dating for a few years prior to my meeting her, and they met while in college and were in a serious relationship for a period of time after that. When I first met her, they had just separated and decided that they would be better off as friends. Before they began dating, they had been friends for many years. We started dating, but he continued to be a part of our lives. He was her best friend first and foremost, and I reluctantly agreed to it for her sake, even though I didn't want to. Several months later, I put my foot down and said that it was too uncomfortable for me to continue. There was some resistance, but she took a step back and walked away from the situation. Every time we separated, she was there with him. In the end, we were able to reconcile and tie the knot. He doesn't seem to realize what he's done and quickly ends his conversation with her. She seemed to be in distress, which should have served as a red flag. It came up in conversation, and she expressed her delight at having chosen me. As a result of what has transpired, I'm tempted to inquire as to whether she has reunited with him at this point. Because I saw the laptop searches, I know she looked in on his social media accounts. She is completely unaware that I am aware of this. Despite the fact that I don't think she would cheat, this guy was always out of the norm for her. Do I simply go up to her and confront her? Is it okay for me to start searching through her phone? Is it just me, or do I have a paranoid streak? Story 2. Ex not only still stuck on his ex, but online cheating too. When I searched through his phone one night, I learned that my ex, a 23-year-old guy, had cheated on me. We'd been living together for 4 months at that point, and I believed I had a good grasp on him by then. A few weeks before Thanksgiving, he began acting peculiar and emotionally detached for no apparent reason. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I had a strong sense that something wasn't quite right. It feels like there's a pit in my stomach. I couldn't take it any longer, so I snooped through his phone and found some information. Never done this before, and I was so ashamed of myself. The way he drunkenly texted his ex made me crave, hunger for, and hope that he'd ever talk to me and acknowledge me with something I wished for and hoped for. I had no idea he was capable of being so kind and honest about his sentiments. I was shocked, obviously, because he was too busy having these feelings for someone else. I felt depressed, and I busted out crying right then and right then. His eyes were opened as he awakened and saw me. He realized what was happening and started to as well. He expressed regret and insisted that it didn't matter. He was just plain ignorant, intoxicated, and all the other rubbish you hear about people like him. Given that I've never been in a situation like this before, should I just let it go? I tried to convince myself that all he needed was some time to get over her, and that everything would be okay. He did, on the other hand, treat me better, show more affection, and make a genuine attempt. The damage had been done, though, and I was no longer the same person. I was anxious all of the time, and my self-esteem was in ruins. I felt so ugly, not just as a result of the infidelity, but also for other reasons, and I couldn't put my faith in him for any reason. We tried for months, but I couldn't seem to shake that odd pit in my stomach sensation. I then checked through his phone a few months later and found that he had been contacting his ex-girlfriend, not romantically, but in a friendly fashion, according to what I observed. While she was completely unconcerned with the fact that he was seeing someone else, she did not hesitate to call or email him anytime she wished. Because she plainly believed she still had some kind of claim on him, and had begun flirting with girls on the internet as well as in person. In addition, I was sending them images and flirting with them. He said it was because I wasn't making him feel good anymore since I was so far away, and he was seeking for happiness somewhere else. Instead of weeping, which I did a lot of after that, lol, I forcefully woke him up by yelling at him in the face. Afterwards, we had a full-fledged debate before calling him out on his behavior. I told him how he'd made me feel and how disgusted I was with him and his group of friends. To be quite honest, that served as a tremendous wake-up call. When he didn't go, I informed him he couldn't stay in my flat. When he expressed a desire to sleep on the couch and talk it over in the morning, I started yelling and ordering him to GTFO until he agreed to do so. Upon further investigation, I think he slept in his van for 2 days before locating a place to stay. That was more than a year and a half ago now. Right now, I'm in a totally different, healthier, and happier place than I was a year ago. I'm certain I wouldn't be with him in any situation. I understand that things are challenging for you right now, but keep your heads up and be strong. It is going to get better. Story 3. Just found the evidence. I've been suspicious of my wife's infidelity for some months. With the exception of a few weeks in June, when we had a brief reunion, we've been sleeping in separate beds. I was still feeling tight. I'll admit that I'm the kind of person who likes to snoop around when there's anything fishy going on. Then I realized what I'd done. He sent me a heartfelt message of affection. Her coworker, in fact. He works as a pharmacist in the emergency department, and she is a nurse at the same facility. The letter goes on and on about her being cold on a Friday, despite the fact that it is the middle of the week. My assumption is that she had a breakdown at work the following Friday, when she called me crying and pleading for help in attempting to sort things out. As a result of getting to know her during the preceding 70 days, he is said to have fallen in love with her, according to the letter. She said that she had always assured him that they would be able to go through anything together. The letter is signed by the idiot and includes his phone number. Both of you are. I dialed the telephone number. Please confirm your identity, and then I'll introduce myself. He acknowledges my presence. I'm assuming you're familiar with my wife, I say. Silence. I came upon your short note, Evan, I said. I believe it is past time for you to act like a man and tell me the truth. After that, there is stillness, and then he hangs up. I return his phone call and leave him a message. When you feel like you're a man enough, you owe it to me to tell me the whole truth about yourself. You are welcome to get in touch with me at your convenience. I have no intention of becoming nuts or doing anything insane. That is not who I am. However, now is the time to act like a man. Almost immediately after, my wife called me from the emergency room on her work phone and cried out in terror for help. She makes an effort to lay the whole burden of duty on my shoulders. It is based on any shortcomings I may have, as well as those she has concocted in her mind. For the time being, this isn't about me. It's about her deciding to leave the marriage. Despite the fact that I'm far from perfect, I'm at her home every night and on weekends, raising her son as I have since he was 10 months old, now 8, when I first met her. True, I can take on many different personas, and I certainly don't lie, to put it mildly. In addition, I now know where he lives, what his wife's name is, and whether or not he and his wife have a child who is no more than 2 years old. Is he the kind of guy you're searching for? Do you think he's the one? The kind of person who will prey on his own family, on his own blood, on his own blood? The F***CK is on him. In addition, screw her. Although I have a strong desire to hack, burn, and otherwise kill both of them, I must choose the high road. I have the letter he sent to her, as well as some drawings he made for her. He even kept track of the times and dates. You stupid, you packaged this rubbish to my attorney on the 30th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of May. The letter and notes are safely stored in a safe belonging to a friend of mine, awaiting the arrival of the lawyer. I'm going to start again from the beginning. I am going to regain my life. I'm going to be okay.